Before we begin, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from? And what time is it right now? Drop it in the comments. I want to know who you are, where you're listening, and when this story found you. A car crash on a winter night. No footprints, no screams, no struggle, just gone. February 9, 2004. Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student, crashes her car on a rural road in Haverhill, New Hampshire. A witness sees her. She says she doesn't need help. By the time police arrive minutes later, Maura is gone. This isn't just a disappearance. It's one of the most haunting true crime cases in modern American history. A case filled with secrets, theories, and unanswered questions. But the more we dig into what happened before and after that crash, the more the truth seems to blur. This is the story of Maura Murray, and it begins long before the night she disappeared. Maura Murray was born on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts. She was the fourth of 5 children in a close-knit Irish Catholic family. Her father, Fred Murray, was a Vietnam veteran and had high hopes for his children. Maura was a gifted athlete. She ran cross-country, played basketball, and shined as a standout student. In high school, she was quiet, driven, and deeply loved by her family. She enrolled at the prestigious U.S. Military Academy at West Point in 2000. She excelled in chemistry and leadership, but a freshman year incident allegedly involving stealing makeup led her to transfer to UMass Amherst to study nursing. Friends and professors described her as composed and intelligent. She worked 2 jobs, took tough science classes, and maintained a long-distance relationship with her boyfriend, Bill Rausch, who was in the Army. But despite her high-functioning appearance, Maura struggled. She had bouts of anxiety. She is sometimes isolated. Her blog and letters hinted at inner turmoil like she was fighting something invisible. The week before she vanished, Maura's behavior became increasingly strange. On Thursday, February 5th, she had a breakdown during her shift at the Melville dorm security desk. She received a phone call and began sobbing uncontrollably. Her supervisor had to escort her back to her room. When asked later, Maura said only, "My sister." But her sister Kathleen would later say she didn't recall anything major happening. The next day, her father Fred drove from Massachusetts to help Maura shop for a used car. That night, Maura borrowed his brand new Toyota Corolla. At around 3:30 a.m. she crashed it near Hadley, Massachusetts. Police noted she seemed disoriented. The official report said she hit a guardrail. No sobriety test was administered, but the crash raised questions. 2 days later, on Sunday, Fred rented a car and returned home. That same day, Maura searched online for directions to Vermont and New Hampshire. She also searched for condos, cabins, and places to stay. She emailed her professors saying she'd be out for a week due to a death in the family, but no one in her family had died. Monday, February 9th, around p.m., Maura packed a box of belongings in her dorm and left a note for her boyfriend. She withdrew $280 from an ATM, caught on surveillance. Then, she went to a liquor store and bought several types of alcohol, including Bailey's, wine, and Kahlua. She did not seem nervous or rushed. She left Amherst, driving north in her black Saturn sedan, carrying a printed MapQuest route to Vermont. At 7:27 p.m., a resident in Haverhill, NH, called police to report a single car accident outside her home on Route 112. The car had gone off the road into a snowbank. A school bus driver named Butch Atwood stopped to help. He spoke with Maura. She insisted she had already called AAA. He knew she couldn't have. There was no cell service. He drove home and called the police. By 7:46 p.m., law enforcement arrived, but Saturn was empty. Police examined the scene. The driver's side windshield was cracked. The airbags had deployed. The car doors were locked. Inside, officers found a box of wine, some empty alcohol containers, and a Coke bottle with what smelled like alcohol. Maura's belongings, schoolbooks, printed directions, toiletries were all inside, but she wasn't. Footprints led away from the car, but didn't go far. A scent trail was picked up by K9s, then vanished. No blood. No sign of a struggle. No tracks suggesting she was picked up by another vehicle. Within 30 minutes of the crash, she had disappeared into thin air. The search began slowly. Authorities didn't immediately issue a missing person alert, believing she might be avoiding trouble due to drinking. But Maura's family quickly arrived. Her father began demanding answers. They held vigils. They distributed flyers. By Wednesday, helicopters, sent dogs, and state police joined the search. Fred Murray began pushing for federal assistance. He criticized the handling of the investigation, but still no trace of Maura. One theory is that Maura staged her own disappearance. She may have been overwhelmed, pressured by school, her legal trouble, her family expectations, her boyfriend's possible cheating. She searched for cabins in Vermont. She brought alcohol and cash. Some believe she wanted to run, to restart. Others believe she may have met someone online, or had a rendezvous. But if she escaped, how? Where did she go? And why no contact in 20 years? Many believe she was abducted, that someone picked her up from the crash site, that the area was remote enough for a crime of opportunity. Local sex offenders were interviewed. Tips poured in. In 2006, cadaver dogs signaled near a home close to the crash site. In 2011, a concrete slab was jackhammered but no remains were found. Some locals reported suspicious activity. One man's brother claimed he'd killed a girl. Another witness described seeing a red truck that vanished. No one was arrested. Nothing confirmed. After the initial media blitz, things went quiet. Years passed. Documentaries were made. Podcasts launched. Internet sleuths dissected every detail. But for Maura's family, it was agony. Her father kept searching. He walked roads, knocked on doors, hired private investigators. In 2021, new evidence was reviewed by the FBI. But again, no answers. Maura's case remains cold, but not forgotten. Maura Murray was more than a headline, more than a mystery. She was a daughter, a sister, a brilliant young woman with a future. She had moments of strength and moments of struggle. She laughed, she cried, she loved. Behind the theories, the threads, and the timelines, there is grief, and for her family, closure is not a theory. It's a desperate hope. If you made it this far, comment below. I remember Maura, because every time we speak her name, we pull her story back into the light. Maybe someone knows something. Maybe silence can still break. And maybe someday, Maura will come home. Until then, we keep searching. We keep remembering. This is Behind Her Mask. And this was Maura Murray.